hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and now I'm gonna answer all your questions on how I do my Instagram. I have been asked by my friends and few of my Instagram friends on how I do my Instagram feed. I know I'm not the best out there, but I think I kind of know what I'm doing bit. So I have been asked what cameras do I use, I'm sorry, which editing app I used also. So I'm gonna try to answer that question. I have been asked about this for a couple of years already, but I'm too lazy to do the video, especially now that I don't have the computer. But I think I will answer all your questions all at once, and yeah, let's start it out here. So I'll start with this. This is my camera for 2-3 years, and this is Olympus Pen EPL7, and this is really nice. It's so girly, it's so light, really handy. You can also change the lens. You can buy different extra lens if you want, but I think I was satisfied with this kit lens that I have, which is 14-42. It's really wide and it's a touchscreen. I'll try to switch it on. And the downside about this camera is that this screen goes downside, because sometimes when I travel, especially if I travel alone, no one will take my photos. So what I do is that I would put it in the stand, and I want to see myself on how I look, and if I have the good angle, etc. So this baby down here will be covered by the stand, and it's not so easy. But on the positive note, it has a Bluetooth, so I can connect this camera to my phone, and I can use the live remote that it will connect to my phone. Then I will see the live view of the camera. So that is really helpful if no one is taking your photo. If it's a group photos or a couple photo and no one would take your photo, connecting this camera to your cell phone is really handy. And another thing about this camera, it has these built-in filters here, white, and in this filter it will automatically apply to every photos. But I don't usually use this. I think I filmed myself once with this, with a soft focus filter, and I always try to use the manual because I'd like to play. I always like to play the colors and adjust myself how I want and how I prefer the colors of and the tones of my photos. So yeah, if you check my Instagram, the Thailand trip, I used this camera, this baby. My Iceland trip, I also used this, and where else? I think in Rovaniemi in Finland, I also had this camera. I think I was really happy about this, but once I wanted to step up with my photography game, I invested in a new camera. But if you are not into like these big and heavy professional cameras, I think mirrorless and this Olympus baby is really good, and I would suggest that you would buy this if you want something chic and pretty. They sell also accessories like this. I bought this separately. I bought this separately a long time ago, and I think it was like about 40 euros for this sling. And it's really girly, and I like carrying it without a bag because it's pretty along this. But we're talking about how good my photos. This also renders a really great photo. I am really happy, and this has a built-in flash in here. And as I've said, you can buy new lenses if you want. So yeah, so this has been one of my camera. The next one is the camera that I have been using for about 2 years now. I don't really remember, but I am gonna suggest this if you want to level up your photography game. So yeah, here is my second baby. This is Canon. It's Canon 6D there. And once you buy this baby, you have to buy separately the body. This is the body and the lens. And I think when I bought this camera, I actually bought a different lens because the body alone is really expensive. I don't know how much is it in peso. I think it would be about maybe 50 to 100,000 pesos. I'm not quite sure, but yeah, so I bought this body, and then I bought this 50 millimeters lens. This was my first lens. It's 50 millimeters with aperture of 1.4. So 50 millimeters, it's how close the photos. I'm really not good at explaining, but the 1.4 is like, it gives a really great bokeh effect. So if you want some portrait photos, this is really great, especially indoors. I think you can take really nice night photos also, because of the aperture is really high, 1.4. And I will tell you also the negative side of this lens. I've had this for like, as I've said, this is my first lens, but I don't use this so often anymore, because as you know, I like travel photos, because I travel and take photos, and that's like the story of my Instagram. So the downside of this is that once you go to a really touristy place where there's a lot of tourists, this lens would take so many unnecessary details, because it's really close. Once you take a photo, you have to go all the way, like you have to step back really far if you want to get a good background and a full body photo. So tight areas and crowded areas, this baby is not so good. This is mostly for portraits. And yeah, and also when the first time I used this lens was when we went to Bali with my friend, and we were on the cliff, and of course I wanted to take a photo of myself, but the photographer couldn't take a full body. It could just like take my face or my shoulder, because it's really close. He needed to step back all the way, but it was really impossible because of really tight area. So that, in that sense, I used my Olympus that time because it was wider. So that was the turning point when I decided to buy this big monster down here. It's a kit lens, I think it's called. I'm really not good, but this is a 24-105. I think I'm gonna try. Yes, this is a zoom lens. It's 24-105, and this is, the aperture goes up to 4.0, and this is a really not good for night photos, because the aperture is really low. I'm sorry. So the good thing about this is that once you're traveling, sometimes you don't know what the area looks like, and this is really flexible. It can take wide photos because it goes to 14 millimeters, 24, I'm sorry. And if you want to zoom, and you can get 105. So if you are thinking of which lens you would like to use, especially if you're a newbie like me, I would suggest to go straight buy a kit lens. There is like up to 70, I think, 24-70, I'm not quite sure. And if you can afford, buy a lens that could go really high aperture, like 1.4 or 2.8 is already enough, but they are really expensive. The higher the aperture could go, the lens gets more expensive. So yeah, these are the cameras that I use. And of course, I would admit I also use my phone every now and then, but when I do the editing, the quality of the photos varies a lot if I take photo with this and with my iPhone. I have iPhone XS. I'm really satisfied with the quality of the photos of the iPhone XS, but it's not like a feed goals, you know. You can use it for your Instagram story, I think, but it would not render good quality if you when you do the editing, if you edit the photo from your iPhone. And yeah, so what are the apps that I use? Back then, when I still had the Olympus camera, I used Snapseed, and it's a really nice tool, really easy to use, and it's for free. So Snapseed was my best friend back then. But once I figured out Lightroom, it's the best. I can play a lot with the colors, and I could open up the photos really well. So what I use now, I only use Lightroom, nothing else. And there is a free the application, there's a mobile app for free, but I pay €12.99, I think, every month, so I could use all the tools that are there. But I think if you don't want to pay monthly, I think the free app is really good also. I think the only thing you can't use are the geometry and optics, which I don't really explore that much neither. But yeah, those are the apps that I use. So if you have any questions, please just slide into my DM. I would like to answer, but I have gotten so many questions about how I do my Instagram. I know I'm not the best out there in the markets, but yeah, I think I have a nice quality of photos, and this and the Lightroom helped me. And yeah, so thank you for watching, and I hope you learned something, and have a nice day. Bye.